Hello! Look at how the sun is just beaming in from the skylight. I feel very cute. Also, this is what I wore to church today. A little like leather bomber jacket type thing, and then this dress that Kat got me. I was gonna wear like shorter boots, but instead I'm wearing combat type boots. I can't really do a whole outfit of the day thing in the car. But hey, welcome back to my next St. Mary's rant. It's kind of becoming a new thing. Also, Emily, thanks for the Starbucks you got me. I just filled it up with some water now, so. But anyway, I was asking Emily if I should make this vlog, and she's like, yes. And I'm like, I feel like it's going to be something good to go back and look later. Just to kind of see where I was at in my faith in 2021. It's going to be kind of a little review. Don't worry, it's very, not appropriate, but like positive. I actually ended up writing Alex the Seminarian a letter today, and I gave it to the deacon. I might have kind of told him that I was making this video, and like I didn't tell him he should watch it, but I'm like, if he's interested. So Alex, if you're here watching this video, hey, what's up? Welcome to my channel. He's probably not. I'm gonna try to make this a very seamless, beautiful vlog because now I have a seminarian watching and I can't make it a bad vlog. Can we lock these doors? Okay. Last Saturday, so like a week from today, I went to go see my uncle, and he's a priest. He said mass on Saturday night, and we went to his mass, and I knew that this was going to be happening like throughout the week, and I'm like, I still want to go to St. Mary's. I asked Dad, I'm like, do you want to go? Like, you're pretty St. Mary's passionate like I am. Do you want to go? Because, you know, Alex isn't going to be here for much longer. Father Mark's going to be leaving in July. Like, let's just go enjoy it while it lasts. He's like, no, we're already going Saturday night. It's fine. I don't need to go with you. And I'm like, okay. So I made a reservation for 1. And I was really excited to go by myself. I was really excited to go have some me time. So throughout the week, I had already been thinking about stuff that I wanted to talk to Father Mark about after. I ended up watching part of his homily earlier that day, and it was about abiding with the Father, and that was like his quote that he put on his ordination card. And then I'm like, have you heard that Matt Maher song called Abide With Me? I pulled into the parking lot. Again, I can feel my heart beating in my chest. That's a new thing that Father Mark walked into the church, but I didn't make it in time to say hi to him. Plus, I went to, they have a park like a little further out, but like still on their property. I think that's their property. I thought it was kind of like a church thing, but maybe not. So, I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail to my last St. Mary's rant. Of course, I'll try to card it up above. I was walking over there, and I saw other people there, so I was like, maybe I can just have them take a picture of me than trying to like prop it up or trying to be weird, acting like I'm just so full of myself taking pictures. I stupidly asked like some like 10, 12-year-old. I was like, hey, can you take a picture of me on the swing? And she's like, she got like really like uncomfortable, and then it made me get uncomfortable, and she finally ended, long story short, she said, why don't you go ask that adult over there? And I was like, okay. So then I asked the adult, and it was kind of awkward too, but you know what, we ended up getting some really good pictures, and I looked very cute that day, not to be full of myself, but Alex said in his concert last night that he's hot stuff, so can I say that I'm that? So I went to church, and Father Mark said the whole mass. He said the homily. He said that homily again. It was really weird because I sat the second pew from the back in the middle, so I can kind of choose where I wanted to go to communion, because I wanted to get it from Father Mark. And then they asked me, like, after mass had already started, they're like, hey, can some people sit, like, there was like me and one other person like at the ends, and then somebody needed to sit like right there, and I was like, yeah, sure. So then I get back from communion, and I obviously I have my backpack, so like maybe it looked like I wasn't coming back, and then I come back to the pew and I see that that whole pew is already filled, so the people who sat in between me and the other girl must have like had to split up, and then they all wanted to be together at the end, and I was like, okay, it's fine. So then I kind of just like kneeled there, and then I needed to go to the bathroom because now I chugged so much water, and I chugged so much water before I got there, so it's all finally starting to just flow through. So then I went to the bathroom, and then I kind of was just like hanging out like in like the lobby. Yeah, the narthex, the whatever you call that main space. And then I kind of see that the line was down to talk to Father Mark, so he's kind of starting to like walk towards me, like walk in to go back, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I like ask you a couple questions? And he's like, yeah, no, what's up? So I was asking him, I was like, well, I was going to ask you when Alex's last, I forgot the order of what I said, but I was like, I was going to ask you when Alex's last day was. But you already kind of answered that because he talked about it at the final announcements, and he's like, yeah, it's really sad, blah, blah, blah. Like, your homily is so great today. And he's like, thanks. And I was like, have you ever heard Abide With Me? And he's like, yeah, I had Alex play it for me earlier in the week when I was kind of preparing the homily, but I should go back and watch it. And I was like, yeah, it's a really good song. And then I said, hey, I get emails from the Joliet Diocese, and I get emails from the Chicago Diocese with, like, young adult groups and everything, but, like, those emails are kind of overwhelming. I feel like they're all in the most random spots with the most random people, and there's not a lot of information, and, like, it can kind of get overwhelming, you know, and, like, with COVID, a lot of stuff's online and everything, and I'm like, what do you recommend? Because I trust Father Mark, and I think that he's going to give me something legit, something good, something that, like, he's passionate about it. And then he's like, I kind of want to have Alex go be the associate pastor at his new church. And I was like, oh my gosh, could you imagine? That would be so awesome. And he's like, yeah, we don't like thinking about, like, this is our last little bit of time. And so he kind of mentioned two different things, but I kind of was, like, confused on, like, which is which. But he's like, we're going to be doing something Thursday night, and just shoot me an email when you get home, because it's always, like, in the bulletin or on the website. And I was like, okay, I will. Monday before National Wake Up Call for Beachbody, and I emailed him, and I was just like, hey, I knew you had information about whatever. And I was like, that's so nice. And he's like, I've attached Alex, and I've attached this guy named Michael for the other event. And I was like, okay. But then I went to go look, and you can see, like, when you send an email, right, that there's other people attached to the email. Well, there was nobody else attached to the email, and I'm like, whatever. And, like, I heard nothing for 2 days. And I was like, if worst comes to worst, we'll either see them at some point at Mass within the next couple days, or I can just, like, reply back to Father Mark. And I was like, hey, I still haven't heard anything. Like, I was just following up, you know? So then finally I woke up on Wednesday to an email from Father Mark, and he's like, oops, I forgot to attach these guys to the email. And then I also get an email from Alex and being like, hey, we're doing a praise and worship night on Thursday, and he's like, hope you can make it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. I mean, I didn't know, like, it was in, like, a church in the cemetery, but I didn't really know, like, where it was or whatever, but I was like, yeah, I'll go, you know. And then I'm, like, slightly starting to, like, panic, because, like, there's an ambulance going by. Who's gonna see the flashing lights? No, you don't see it. Because that same day, I had to work, my sister was working, and my mom was going to pick up my sister from school in Indianapolis, because she is now home. I was like, well, what if they say, like, no, you can't go? So I ended up telling them Wednesday night, and Dad was really excited for me, so I felt really good, and he's like, you're going, right? And I was like, I mean, yeah. So that was really good that I had so much support from my dad to go. So obviously I told Alex that I was going to go, blah, 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 blah. And so then I go, and I found the church. It was actually not that hard to find. Alex is going to be watching this, and he's like, wow, you're so cringy and you're so rambly. But what if Alex doesn't watch it? Then it's totally fine. But, like, what if he does? Then I would be like... And so I get in there. It's a really tiny church. It's a really, like, beautiful church. And, like, all the lights are off, but, like, it's 7:30. And so, like, the sun's already starting to, like, go down and everything, you know, right? And Alex is like, hey, what's up? And there was only, like, a couple people in there. And I was like, oh, is this going to be, like, a pre-show to his show tomorrow? And kind of was just, like, his thank you for everything that St. Mary's has done for him. And honestly, he exposed the Eucharist. So now we're, like, sitting in adoration. We did the whole, like... Father Mark and I are so, like, lazy, and we don't have normally at stuff like this you would have a song sheet, but we didn't make song sheets. I'll just announce the song and you guys can look it up. And it was just Alex and his guitar. His voice is so good. But afterwards, he said that he actually had a song on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube, wherever you stream it. So I will leave some of those links down below if you want to listen to how good his voice is. Also, Alex, if you're watching this, you're welcome for the plug. Everyone was just sitting there, worshiping. We were singing, like, popular worship songs or whatever, like, stuff that you can actually, like, look up and find the lyrics to and the chords to. Some of them I actually did recognize. And, like, it was getting dark, and they just had, like, 6 candles up on the altar lit. It was the most beautiful way to go to adoration. And looking back, I was like, that's literally my dream adoration. being in the dark, and then also with like live music. I think I've mentioned in previous vlogs that honestly I love going to adoration and just like putting in headphones and like listening to worship music. And like honestly I was like, I just made a post last night, so it was like the night after, something totally completely unrelated, but I said how Beachbody was getting me out of my comfort zone for various reasons. Like, you know, you have those conversations with people in your head, and like you never actually have those conversations with them like in person. I was just so thankful that God had led me right at the last minute, right before Alex was gonna leave. He led me to ask Father Mark what to do, because honestly that was just like the best way to go to adoration. And I was telling Emily on the way home, because I like called her, and I was like, I love going and experiencing St. Mary's with Dad. I love going and experiencing St. Mary's with you. I love, like, obviously I'm so used to going to Mass with my family, but if I didn't go to Mass by my... Why is this guy parking so close to me? If I didn't go to Mass that night by myself, if God didn't lead me to go to Mass for the second time that weekend, I would have never gotten to experience that, and I'm still so happy. I literally did not want to leave. It was just so perfect, and I'm like, if we just have to be here until Alex's voice completely gives out, like, so be it. I wouldn't complain. Sorry, Alex, that's so mean. And it was like an hour and 45 minutes. Alex's voice is so... Okay, now I actually think that you did see spit come out of my mouth. And, like, he was just jamming out. Everybody, we were just, like, kind of, like, singing it. I was like, yes, 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 yes. Anyway, the acoustics in there were so good. And also, it's, like, not, like, echoey, but, like, okay, our next song is Lord, I Need You. And I was like, okay, I know this song. And, like, I kind of had my phone, like, propped up against the other, on, like, the pew in front of me. Then I go to, like, lock my phone. And all of a sudden, my phone slides off and it goes right on the floor. And I was like, ooh, this is awkward. Like, right in adoration, right when everyone's just quiet and just totally in the moment. I was like, okay, this is, I was like, wow, this is so embarrassing. So I just, like, awkwardly picked it up. Also, I saw that Father Mark had entered the church, but he was sitting in the back. So, Father Mark was probably there, too, when my phone dropped and did this whole amazing thing. And so it ends, and he's like, okay, this is our last song. We sing, what a beautiful name. And then Father Mark comes up. He kind of makes his way up to the front and, like, puts the Eucharist away and everything. And I was like, wow, that was great. And then Alex is like, feel free to stick around and talk to us or whatever. Like, it's fine. You don't have to just, like, disperse immediately. So I was kind of just standing there, and I was still, like, in awe. And also, Alex was, like, a couple rows in front of me, and I was just, like, listening to his conversation, not trying to listen in, but, like, whatever, like, I just, like, observing. And then Father Mark comes over to me, and he just starts talking to me, and I start talking to him, and he was like, yeah, this is where we want to hold 24-hour adoration. So he just starts talking to me, like, oh, this is all the stuff that we're going to do to this church, and I'm like, so when's it going to be done? And he said fall 2021, which is in a couple months, and I'm like, you're going to be gone? And he's like, yeah, but if I ever come back and I be a pastor here, then I'll be able to get to see it. And I was like, could you imagine if he comes back to St. Mary's to be a pastor and has Alex as his associate pastor? Because he's made that joke multiple times, like, this is actually what we want to do. I mean, obviously it's not his could it be his decision? I don't know. I don't think so. But I was like, wow, that would be so great. And then we ended up just hanging out talking to Alex forever. And that was really great too. I don't know, we just kind of talked to Alex about, like, everything, I feel like. And also he's like, I was packing on Wednesday, and it just kind of all started to hit me, and I just lost motivation to pack. And I was like, I told him that he should invite Dad to Fit Shepherds. I also kind of want to try to get Dad to make a, come on the vlog and be my guest and talk about Fit Shepherds. We'll see what happens. And I was like, you should convince Dad to go, and he's like, yeah, of course. And then the next day, it all just kind of started to, like, hit me that, like, he was leaving, and I just got, like, really sad. We went to Mass, all 6 of us, in the morning, kind of, like, unintentionally. And just, like, seeing Alex there, it kind of just hit me. Like, we actually ended up standing around after Mass and talking to Alex for quite a while. And it was just kind of sad. And then, like, I go to work, and, like, all the kids are just annoying each other and being all in a mood, and I'm like... But he sang this one song, I'll leave the link to it below, and, like, I realized there too, because I got that song stuck in my head again. It says, set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control, because I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. And I was like, that has been the theme song to my life before I went to St. Mary's. And then when I was there, I was like, okay, God's just set that fire in my soul that I can't contain. And now with Father Mark and Alex leaving, I just hope that stays with me. And I don't know, I just felt like really overwhelmed about a lot of stuff. There's some personal stuff going on too right now that's kind of getting me overwhelmed, and I'm just like, Father Mark was still gonna be there. I was gonna like really try to like get into like starting stuff with him. I don't even know if I could do that, but like starting stuff with him. And I don't know, I just felt like really, it just kind of started to hit me that like it was all like, today was Alex's last day. I have reservations for 6 p.m., but I think we're gonna go see my cousins tomorrow, so I probably won't end up going. And then I kind of had this like nagging thought in my head of, you need to write Alex a letter. You need to thank Alex. It just kept being, write Alex a letter, write Alex a letter. And I'm like, is that just me being obsessive, or is that God trying to be like, you need to write Alex a letter? And so I was like, okay. And then he did a concert thing last night, and it was great and everything. It was kind of like what we got last night, but last night was more like, this was just like him writing some of the songs and everything. It was really great too. We also made him breakfast cookies. He's gluten intolerant. I always want to say lactose intolerant, but it's gluten intolerant. And we ended up finding some cookies that we could make him and everything, so that was great too. And it all just kind of started to hit me that like, this is Alex's last time. And then he ends with, I want to sing you guys a song that I started back in December when I came here. I started writing a song that I knew that was going to be the song that I wanted to give to you guys to thank you for everything that you've done for me, and I hope that I've like made an impact on you. And I'm like, that's like when I like lost it, and I like really like my nose just started like running, and I was like trying so hard not to cry through the whole thing, but I think I let like my eyes really did like start to tear up, and I was just like, maybe this is even more of a sign that I need to write Alex a letter. So I asked Emily about it, and she's like, yes, you should do it because you're going to regret it if you don't. And I was like, okay. So I got up at like 6 a.m. today and was like high 30s. And I went to go out and run for the Running Beachbody program that I'm doing. And then I just sat in the basement and I listened to the playlist of, everyone's parking like right next to me, dude. There's a whole parking lot that's empty. You should go like and subscribe, ma'am. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe! Hey, I'm making a video for Alex because he's leaving. You should go watch it. This guy's gonna change your life. Okay, whatever. She didn't hear me. And so I just wrote him a letter and I just thanked him for everything that he's done. I didn't know how to say this. I couldn't figure out a way how it sounded good. But I said something to the extent of like, it takes a really special person to answer the call to a priesthood and to give up marriage and kids and family, etc., etc. But like also to like lead your parish and whatever. Like it takes a really special person to do that. But it also takes a really special person to impact another person, especially when it comes to your faith, in such a little amount of time. I've only known Alex for a couple of months, like 2 maybe. But even like less than that, like I would always see him at Mass, but we never really talked to him until Lectio Divina Holy Week, during Holy Week. So what was that, like a month ago? We just started talking to him and I'm like, wow, this kid's so cool. He's about my age. He's just a really cool kid. Come to find out later on in the knowing Alex thing that he was actually homeschooled. Like, so I always have gratitude conversations with Father Mark, but I've never actually like thanked you for what you've done or like talked to you about like where I'm at in my faith right now. So I kind of mentioned that. I kind of mentioned like your reverence and everything at Mass just has had a really big impact on me. And I was like, not only in Mass, but after Mass, standing around in the back and talking. Every time I would like wave to him or whatever, he picked up my name so fast. And like, it's Ida, not Ida, or like whatever. So he just kind of picked up on my name really fast. He only had to ask me once, and every time I waved to him, he's like, bye, Ida, or well, have a good night, Ida. And I was like, that just really spoke to me too. I really have to do some editing. I really have to cut some of this out because I want to make it as short as I can. I love you guys so much. Alex, if you're watching this, thank you for everything that you've done. It was really nice knowing you, and I hope that our paths can cross again. And maybe next time they cross, I can actually see you say Mass. I can go to confession with you. I just wish you nothing but the best. I wish I could go to your last Mass, but you know, it's Mother's Day, it's family. And Alex, I always end every single, well, not every single, as many vlogs as I can or I remember. I didn't like film for something else. I say ciao, babes. So, ciao, babes. God bless. I have to pick a really good Bible quote for this. Maybe I'll do something about music. We'll see. Ciao, babes.